how he's going to be able to way through because those tires are going to be ice cold on the way out.
But Silvia's Banty leading the championship. Angel in second, Banty in third. We heard Ranji saying earlier on that they are out of it at the moment thanks to a series of disastrous results, even though they've had the overall pace for the beginning of the season. So this is turning into one of those situations where he's in front. He's got stage, not a championship to worry about. Instead of Michael Steven in second place now. He is fighting for the giant to watch is that who might be starting from the pit lane or at the back of the grid, depending on what happens over the coming moments. Everything to play for now, folks. This is the South African series at 40. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this going. People are starting going, and it's time to go racing.
Lights ablaze, and I've got to say, it's so fantastic to see the McLaren back on. It's been my favorite little car. I never used to enjoy McLarens, but getting to see it in person, it's good to see the old reliable and second on the grid, considering it's the oldest car in the field. That is absolutely amazing. Second to that, we do have an Aston Martin sitting at the back end of the field. Way time ago, a couple of years ago, there was only 2 Aston Martins in South Africa. Glad to see one of them here.
Yeah, definitely nice to see one of them here. It looks like Mo Mia at the back there as the Polo Vivo leads us off. I hope he's going to be able to take these boys and girls fast enough. But Polo lights ablaze, heading down the main straight of Port Elizabeth. They make their way towards the first corner, which is, of course, the iconic right-hander, which is so tricky. The driver's going to have to cut across the circuit. But definitely, as mentioned earlier on by a run, and at least Michael Steven, that first corner is going to be absolutely critical. Last time we saw Sylvester Banty and Michael Stevens rubbing paint, so much so that Michael got a puncture in that race. So all of them are not afraid to get up close and personal. And I think someone that's going to have something to prove out there, of course, is Dane Angel, who's currently on the second row of the grid. Dane Angel in that Ferrari with incredible pace, running in the 57-second range. And the top guys now all running at the 57-second range. And that is what we're going to be looking at to see who is quickest, as there goes the number 51 car of Dane Angel, making their way now towards Hanger Sweep. Again, an iconic corner in South African motorsport, and so tricky to do in these cars. I mean, these cars are not the easiest cars to drive, as we watch Ari Neveling there in the number 1 car, the Pageant Racing Audi R8 V10.
All these drivers know every grain of sand on this circuit, and it's all about making the points. But as much as Charles Ranjis and On Neveling said that they're not in it for the championship at the moment, they are lying 10th. So they have a bit of points to play with. You want to keep within that top 10 so you can still strike a bit of fear. You got Michael Steven, who's way up, going to have a bit of fun out there with the McLaren. And then Dane Angel, Silvia Scribanti, I think keep an eye on those two. They're very close. Dane Angel and Aldo, Silvia's at the back, but they've come close. But I've got to ask Ernest, do you think they're going to open the door for Silvio to make his way back up through the field?
Yeah, team orders might be in play. Let's see. We don't see Silvio at the back. There comes the Lamborghini now. So Silvio Scribanti has made it. They make their way towards the start line. All set up next to each other like Silvio. That is Neveling in the lead there. Next to him, Michael Steven tries to go around the outside. We see the Aston Martin looking good, and there is the Banty trying to thread his way through. Stan Woodley gives way, and we'd love to see what's happening in the front there. The Lamborghini hurrying its way through there. Still in the lead though is Ari Neveling in that number 1 car. Listen to the sound of that Audi R8 as they make their way through the right section over Hanger Sweep now, and yes, he is already starting to eke out a little bit of a gap over Michael Steven at this stage.
just getting a bit of a jump off the line, but how long can he keep it going? That Audi R8 LMS Evo, we've seen it being a very potent car through the corners, but don't count out the McLaren. McLaren seems to have a little bit of a long game to it. We've seen Michael Stever be able to push his way up to the front, but just looking at the track, is getting going to go and start affecting where the brake markers are for these drivers.
Straight down that straight over there, incredibly fast down that straight, and already starting to get a bit of a gap. We've seen Neverland doing some work overseas in Porsche Cup, and so far so good. And he is not up against any slouch. Michael Steven in the 88 car, who has been incredibly fast in qualifying and over the course of this championship as well. Every time he gets into that McLaren, does the older car, is exceptionally fast. So the fact that already that gap starting to keep out, we see Dane Angel coming to view there, and the three of them already starting to get a bit of a class in the own at this stage, where I'm sure Corvus Cavanti is chasing down hard from the back of the grid.
That's it, but keep an eye on Dan Angel and Aldo Scribanti. It seems like Dan Angel's able to get into corners, get in and out of corners slightly quicker than Aldo Scribanti, but Aldo's not going to give up. We've seen that Lamborghini has some straight line pace to it. All he needs to do is just get one good run onto the main straights, and he can close down that gap for third place.
Yeah, Aldo Scribanti there in fourth position as we watch the pageant car now come through once again in the lead on the lead lap. That is, of course, the pairing of Arie Neverland and Charles Arangis. Neverland coming behind the wheel. Most of the drivers here are running alone, though, and that will see complications when they come to the pit stop, where the driver change will happen. We heard some talk earlier on from Arangis that the drivers now have to slam the door in order to make it possible. We've seen advantages being gained by the drivers in the past that were running alone over those that were sharing the car. So obviously now they are trying to mitigate those advantages. And another thing earlier was the balance of performance, and that's one of the reasons why these cars are running so evenly together. They're all balanced out to make sure that the racing is as close as possible. But so far, the top four guys starting to get away from the rest of the pack. We watch once again that number one car of Arie Neverland and Charles Arangis make its way, although the gap now seemingly to be quite the same, much bigger as the 51 car of Dane Angel also carves its way through.
Well, taking a look as well, first, second and third have already started doing sub 1 minute around the circuit, which was their qualifying pace. So you know the cars can do it. Aldo Scribanti, though, just sitting at 1 minute 2, so maybe a little bit of strategy coming into play. Tires a little bit more fresh to go and push a little bit harder. And that's something we've got to keep an eye out as they make their way through. Also, Angel and Jason Watson looking to also climb their way up, and very, very close. They're about 9 seconds off, but is slowly starting to get into it. And this is the difference between Pro-Am, and Am drivers. Now the pros have gone away, the Pro-Ams are starting to close up on one another, and you've got the Am drivers also looking to have a bit of fun out there.
Yeah, for the listeners out there, the top 3 drivers are in the Pro category. That is Dane Angel, Michael Steven, Aldo Scribanti, and of course Arangis, the top 4 in the Pro category. In 5th place is Marcel Angel and Jason Eggerson sharing the car over there in Pro-Am, leading us off Pro-Am category. Further back, Sylvester Scribanti now finds himself in the Am category because of that car, but we might see that changing later on. Obviously, that situation is still currently being sorted out, and I would imagine the timing system hasn't updated it. But let's look at those times, Steve-O. The top guys doing 58s at the moment, and the gap between the top 2 is now seconds. The further 2s back to that. And closest racing moment at least is between Steven and Angel.
What's the car?
Ibbotson and Silvio now. Oh, Silvio's gone past Ibbotson, looks like it further back, so I'd love to get that race happening as well. Silvio now starts to carve his way through the field. He is now currently running in 5th place in that 78 car. He's in the 78 car is Silvio. We go through the circuit over there, and that is the final corner. We watch the 45 car make its way through. That's Olga Scribanti over there. And here comes the rest of the field now. And look at the racing happening further back. That is the Lamborghini over there. That looks like Ari, at least looks like Charlotte Ranji's in that passion racing Lamborghini, the old spec one, arresting that Ferrari over there. And no slouch even in the older spec car. Some good lap times there from Charlotte Ranji.
Paul Hill with that Aston Martin also up into 8th place. He started a little bit further down in the field, but has really been pushing to try and keep on the back of the guys. And you can see how hard he is going for it, managing to get past, and it looks like one of the Lambos heading into the pits.
Yeah, the Lambo's heading pits, maybe around you doing some fighting laps there, but geez, that Aston looks good there. That is Paul Hill, currently in 7th place. Colbert behind him in 8th over there. Mo Mia in 10th position, and I apologize earlier, I mentioned that Mo Mia was in that. That is in fact, as you mentioned, Paul Hill in Class B, and he is really giving these guys a good run for their money. Look at that, harassing Jason Everton over there with a car that's not in the same category. So well done there from Paul Hill. And nice to see a different car out there as well as Colbert also gets involved in that Mercedes-Benz. Colbert used to driving Porsches, now behind the wheel of the front engine Mercedes-Benz. So let's see how he does as he tries to chase down the front fighting cars in front of him there and still holding off. But Aston Martin is Everton. Everton now under immense pressure going down the main track.
Looks like Paul Hill trying to line up that side, goes for it. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Knows Aston might be able to do it, looking for an undercut just to try throw the nose in. But unfortunately, the mid-engine Ferrari is able to out-corner the big front-engine Aston Martin. But while I'm taking a look at this, Colbert's staying just far enough that he lets him have a little battle, but one mistake and he can take 2 positions. So playing a little bit of a long game here, but Paul is having an absolute blast on his way and goes to the inside.
Oh my goodness, Everton a little bit wide. We've seen Everton making mistakes under pressure before. He had some Patamba and himself were racing in the Pro-Am category, and he did make a couple of mistakes before. Of course, he's admitted he is relatively new to top flight racing, so still gaining experience. And it looks like, oh, he didn't get past though. Did the Aston Martins under immense pressure. Everton, this is the biggest race on the circuit at the moment, and Jason Everton finds himself under immense pressure from Paul Hill, with Colbert, as you rightly mentioned, within striking distance, down right in front of him with the Calyx car, not giving up at all.
That's it, and you can see Paul just hunting down, looking for a way to get past. And it tells me that Aston's got some pace underneath it now, with that the Marcel Angel and the Jason Everton car moves out the way, allows Paul to go through and utilize the toe to go and get a little bit closer to the field, to try and instead of going and fighting, maybe that's the best option.
Yeah, there goes Sun Moodley, followed by the leaders. We see Neverland coming into view, and then Michael Stephen right behind him as we can cut back to what looks like the final corner over there. And here they come. There comes Everton down the corner. Calyx car flying in pressure. The Calyx car slows down to go into the pits. So the 46 car gets some respite, and the Calyx car goes into the pits. And here comes Colbert now. So let's see what kind of pace Colbert has as we watch the Aston Martin head into the pit lane now. And something, the team doesn't seem to be ready for him unless he's parking the car, and that's the end of his race. Maybe just a little bit of a shakedown, but the team not ready for him. There goes the marshal. The fire extinguishers going on there as we cut back to the action on circuit.
That's it, and you can see our leader now trying to get past Sun Woodley. Sun Woodley, a very gentleman driver, says, sure, go on ahead, I'm just enjoying. We spoke to him earlier, and he was busy going and saying that he's just here to enjoy the race. It's going to get a little bit darker, don't want to break the cars. And Sun Woodley knows Andrew Colbert very, very well. Both of them have done so well in endurance racing in the Porsche, but unfortunately their Porsches landed up getting burned to a crisp. So a bit of an upgrade to go to Mercedes. I'm going to say that. Front engines beat out mid engines.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see that these cars are here in the country. And now we have two of them. I mean, what a shock to see in Port Elizabeth go for the first time that AMG Mercedes. And now we see two of them as we watch the K5 car on the stilts. And let's see if that will make any sort of impact on what's going on here. We're waiting to hear what is going on. And Kriya Gangia in the pit lane, hopefully she can give us the scoop on what's going on. It was an uncharacteristic stop quite early on in the race. And the team didn't seem ready for the stop, though.
Not at all. And just taking Ginger Walk to go and see what's going on, it's a bit of a worrying sign that there doesn't seem to be much activity around the car, and as it goes, he's losing laps at this point, and it doesn't really help if you want to try and get into a higher position. He's so far 10th at the moment, but he's already a lap down going 2 laps. This is not where you want to be. This is, you want to get back out on the track. So going to be a very, very interesting one.
Yeah, and it's not over yet, not by a long shot, as we watch Colbert now start to apply immense pressure to Ibbotson over there. Ibbotson having quite the race, and as I mentioned earlier, and I'm not trying to give the commentator ultimate test for him, because it's such a mental win if you're able to absorb the kind of pressure that he's currently under. He's done it once now with the Aston Martin. Can he do it again with that Mercedes-Benz? And clearly it does seem to have the pace advantage, Johnny, but Ibbotson so far managing to hold off that Mercedes as the rest of the field comes charging down now. And there comes the 2 Audis, one of them belonging to Mo Mia and one of them belonging to your leader over there. Let's see how that unfolds. And this, of course, is what it is about when it comes to endurance racing. You're going to get lapped, you're going to do some lapping, and it's all about who's able to keep their composure in those situations. And there goes the 80 car. We've usually seen Marius Jackson behind the wheel. Today we see Mo Mia driving that car, and so far so good for Mo Mia as he now starts to get under pressure by the Pageant 1 car, and that's your race leader carving his way through.
That's it. Mo Mia going and playing a little bit of a smarter game here. Let the leader go, let him punch a hole through the gap, through the little fight, and try and follow through. But Andrew is just not giving up. He is on a charge, and since he got into this through practice right to qualifying, he was looking to take the fight straight to the front. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see Andrew Colbert starting to fight for that 5th place a little bit further up.
Yeah, Andrew Colbert currently in 7th position. He's got Ibbotson in front. Here comes the Pageant Racing number 1 car, but overtake Ibbotson. But Ibbotson not letting him through just yet. Maybe he thinks it's Mo Mia, but I think you're going to have to move out the way for this one. He's done well to defend so far, my friend. But I don't think you need to be defending at this stage. A couple of lights flashing at him as they go into the tight Harefield corner at the top of the hill. Let's see if he manages to give way. Does he go defensive? I think he does. And he's holding off the Audi at this stage. Arjen Neveland giving him some flashing lights here all over the back of that car. And so far not letting him through as we cut back to the final corner onto the main straight. Who will be surfacing first? And oh, there he comes. There comes the Pageant car once again. Ibbotson finds himself with a rear view mirror full of bright light and Mercedes badging.
I think at that point he didn't want to let Arnold Neveling get by, because Arnold was the spacing between himself and that mighty Mercedes. So it's like, just please wait there a little bit, try and give me a little bit of a gap. But unfortunately, I think Neveling decided enough is enough, put his nose in on the inside and forced a mistake to happen out of Jason Ibbotson. And that has allowed Andrew Colbert to get right onto the back of him again and to start pushing for that mistake. We saw the Ferrari starting to outbrake himself. So I wonder if that's going to be later. We're going to see guys starting to miss those brake markers as it gets darker and darker here at Aldo Scribante.
Well, that is something that we haven't spoken about much yet, Steve-O, as we see these standings coming up on your screen there. It is, of course, a night race, and we are, of course, racing into the dark. And these drivers will have to contend with that, even though these cars are outfitted with the most state. Oh, look at those brake discs glowing there. The most state-of-the-art lighting systems when it comes to motorsport technology. Of course, it is incredibly difficult driving in the rain. I always say it's like watching frames on a bad monitor. You kind of jump your way through the circuit because there's just these blank spaces that stop, and you wonder if it's too fast and then up. But these guys on the pace, especially our pro drivers, you won't see them slowing down much. Still running solid 8-second range. Is Michael Steven also in the pro class running 59 seconds at the moment, with Dane Angel also running 59 seconds. And Dane Angel, I think, is one of the drivers to watch, because I think when it comes to the championship, he might be the one with the most to gain in his current position. Silvius Grabanti all the way down now in 4th position. Well, not really all the way down. He has carved his way up to 4th. Dane Angel in 3rd place, but there is still a substantial gap between Dane Angel and Silvius Grabanti. Hoping he can be able to close that gap down as we get eyes on the McLaren MP4-12 of Michael Steven, running 2nd position at the moment, also quite consistent, the 59th today.
That's it, and that McLaren going in, sporting beautiful V8 beneath it, and absolutely 7,800. So Kedek has a massive range for a V8, but also a fairly light car. It sits at about 1,200 kilograms without the extra weight.
Oh,
that's
Colbert spun out. That's Colbert spun out. Colbert spun out, the car flaming on the side. They're trying to get it started again. Those flames coming out are just overfueling. It looks like he's got it going. And precariously parked on the side of the road there as he pulls off into safety. There, that looks like the S's after turn 1. And Colbert now makes his way back onto the circuit. Luckily, no harm, no foul, but that will cost him. He's slipping all the way down now, down to 8th position. It looks like Power has he will be lapping him once again.
And that's it. And all that hard work now has to go and try pull him his way back up through the field. But you can be sure that he got a big front. That's not a nice corner to come off, just because of how the camber is. It goes and twists the car underneath. You have no in the nose. It just becomes so difficult, and it's one of the fastest parts of the circuit. All that could happen is just touching the dirt ever so slightly is just enough to upset the car and then throw a spin.
Well, there on your screen we see another Lamborghini over there. But speaking of Lamborghinis, this Lamborghini engined Audi over here is doing just fine in 1st position. The Pageant Racing Audi, of course, over Randy's leveling, yet to quit as we make our way into the latest. These drivers racing for an hour this evening. Much more racing to come through tomorrow as we see the big foot car. That is Bootley over there, 8th position in the number 11 car. And the top 4 looks like this. We've got Adi Neveland and Charlotte Randy 1st place. Just behind them is Michael. He crossed the line very shortly. Yes, he does. And he is currently 8 seconds behind 1st place. Dane Angel crosses the line next, and you'll see him come you shortly there in 3rd position. Behind that is Silvius Grabanti, the driver we were talking about earlier, but we've got Kriya in the pit lane now. And Kriya, let's see what Kriya has to say. Giving us the latest on what's happening on the ground.
All right, guys, I know you want some information about Michelle and Ari. I'm here to get the inside scoop. What is happening? How are the boys doing out there?
At the moment, we're very happy. Arnold's in the car at the moment. He's setting the lap times that we want him to do. He's very constant. He's managed to get himself probably a 4 to 5 second gap on P2, which is Michael Steven. And let's hope we can keep it that way and keep it going and not get caught in another slower traffic like we've seen a couple of guys going off. And I'm not going to give you any more secrets like that. Maybe come and chat to me after the first pit stop. Then you get some others from us.
So when are we expecting the first pit stop? I see that the crew is leisurely chilling out in the garage.
I think you'll find the average team will target the first runs around about 30-35 minutes. So to all the fans out there, stick around. Around about 30-35 minutes, you'll start watching the leaders preparing to come in. And if the guys manage to get cameras in the pit lane, watch the reaction of the mechanics. They start jumping up and down, putting helmets on, and then you know something's about to happen. So that's probably the best indication. So if you guys manage to show the crowd out there, be good.
So one of the interesting things is that your team have a little bit of an extended pit stop in comparison to everybody else because you actually do a driver swap. Tell us a little bit about that process and how much extra time does that put on your pit stop?
Yeah, what actually happens is each car has to stop. Okay, and for those that have two drivers, we do a driver change. Those that do not have two drivers have to get out of the car, unbuckle themselves, switch the car off, get back into the car. That takes roughly a similar amount of time as a driver change. We've been practicing a little bit, and let's hope our driver change is a little bit faster than the guys climbing out of the car and getting back in.
Yes.
So, in that case, to wait and see. The advantage of having two drivers, you're getting a fresher driver in for the second leg. And he goes out to the race seeing with different eyes, and he's got a challenge on his hand because now he wants to do the same time as his teammate did. So they're going to be out there giving it a good go. Those that are single drivers, they do have an advantage because a single driver's got his eye in.
Yeah.
So when we send a new driver out, it takes him a lap or two to get his eye in. So the guys, single drivers, if they play their cards right and they manage to catch us on that, it could give them an advantage. But we've been practicing, so I don't think it's going to happen.
Practice makes perfect, right? Well, back to you guys in the studio.
For the inside to see the 45 car making its way through. Alti there carving his way through 9th position. He's been overtaken by Silvio. So Silvio now in 4th place, Aldo in 5th place. Drivers are into this of the race. As well, was at the halfway mark of this race.
Having a little bit of hope or false hope. Wise old fox, and showing off a little bit of being a commentator or a former commentator, also knowing how to on the competition. It's nice to see in the pits guys are doing different kinds of strategies to get into the heads of the other teams.
Oh yeah, cool. It's quite serious as well because these drivers are, as we're talking about before, they're talking about weight, they're talking about restricted plates, all these things, racing as close as possible, and negotiating to the best possible deal. But this is the kind of racing we like to see. Different cars making different race stops are going to be quite telling as we go into the pit stop phase in the next couple of minutes.
As you can see, it's getting darker and darker on the circuit. It's going to be a little bit tricky for the drivers as they've got to try and remember what we talk about getting much like, well, as with the guys that are driving by themselves, they've already got their eye in. Now fatigue starts getting in and slowing them down. Especially in these classes, you're concentrating more and more as it gets darker and darker, and you start getting more and more tired from that, where you've got drivers who are sharing a car that are able to not get as fatigued. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Michael Stephen has got 10 seconds to try and make up on the likes of Neverling in the Audi R8, who's just carving his way through the field. But it's going to be a tall order. 10 seconds, especially doing a consistent time of 58.4, 58.5. So Neveling is super consistent and is managing that gap the whole way through.
Yeah, managing that gap exceptionally well is Arjen Neveling. 10 seconds the gap now. And car to watch over there is Silvio Scribanti, although he is quite a far way down from Dane Angel. But just look at that, it's now starting to get properly dark, Steve-O. Properly dark now, and the lights are ablaze around the circuit. The lights are ablaze on the front of these cars as the 46 car, that is Marcel Angel and Jason Ibbotson. Ibbotson still behind the wheel. And I gotta say, I mean, I know that the drivers are all, and the teams all listening out in the live stream. You saw the live stream is on. As Monia starts to get pressure now from that 78 Silvio Scribanti car over there. Out of the way, Mo. They're trying to come through. And he is being lapped at the moment. So this isn't pole position. Goes down the inside, gets past Monia. Hopefully, yes, he does. And he's now chasing down. That looks like Sanuti up ahead there. Also going to get lapped. But someone that is in the mix, of course, is Silvio Scribanti chasing his way down. But as I was saying, the drivers are all improving. They're all getting better. They're all getting better at driving at night. They're all getting better at absorbing pressure. And I got to tell you, Ibbotson, for the reputation that he might have, certainly is not keeping his cool, so much so that Colbert was the one, in fact, that spun out behind him.
That's it. Folded the mirrors in and decided not to deal with it. As Silvio just going and making his way through, having a fun time. Oh, that's Michael Stephen in the wall.
That's Michael Stephen in the wall there. Tires in the wall. The crowd's running over the marshal, coming to investigate. And Michael Stephen not known. Oh my goodness, the car's on fire. The car's on fire. The marshal now gets the fire extinguisher. The back of the car is ablaze. I think he's trying to get the car going. And that's probably coming out the exhaust. So he's been told to cut the lights, to cut everything. And the marshal not having to use their fire extinguisher, because of course when you use the fire extinguisher, it does come with its own set of problems. That car might not be able to be used again. But Michael Stephen, Mr. Consistency. When last have you seen Michael Stephen make a mistake, Steve?
The last time I've seen Michael Stevenson in a wall was many years ago during one of the national races, and our safety car going out, that's going to close up the pack. But yeah, many years ago, he had a bit of a collision, and that was the only time I've seen him in the wall. But safety car chucked into the mix is really going to start narrowing the field, and this is exactly what Dan Angel needs to catch up to Neveling. But who's going to get the cheap pit stop? We got to talk about that.
Yeah, we've got to talk about that. Someone's going to go for the safety car, for the pit stop. I'm sure as the safety car goes over to investigate, that is at the top of Hangar and going straight at Hangar. So I can only assume that was a mechanical failure, because usually if you're going to have a moment at Hangar, it's after the corner and you kind of zigzag and have a bit of a crash on either the left or the right side. Maybe missed the brake marker going into the corner, but going straight over there, that's highly uncharacteristic. And Michael Stephen, of course, a test driver himself with more laps than many at the circuit. He's got his arms on his hip there, I'm sure, trying to figure out exactly what just went wrong. But I do suspect that was a mechanical failure. But I'm sure Priya Gangi is going to be getting us that info pretty soon as the rest of the field starts to come through now. They will be, of course, behind a safety car. Oh, and there comes the pit stop, Steve. There come the pit stops.
Yeah, there we go. The cheap pit stops coming in, a change of driver. So Neveling climbing out of the car. It's time for Charles Ranjis to get in. You can see just going and taking it a little bit easy. This is exactly what they needed. A cheap pit stop that's not going to sacrifice position. It's just enough to keep it together. But I think it's going to take a bit of time to move that McLaren out of the tires. It looks quite embedded into it. And I saw the guy struggling to open the doors, which tells me that was a significant impact. He went at some pace into that tire wall. And now this is where the likes of Charles Ranjis can just calm down, relax, bring everything down to a slow panic at this point, because the person that's meant to be fighting him is currently in the wall.
Yeah, the person that's meant to be fighting him is currently in the wall. Never a true word spoken, Stephen. And Kriya's in the pit lane with us now. She's going to give us the inside scoop once again. I cannot wait for this one. Kriya, what's going on down there? What is the sentiment in the pits at the moment?
So it is mad chaos down here in the pits at the moment because, as you know, everyone is coming in to take that cheap pit stop, as you said. I'm standing by with Arnold Neveling, and I'm going to get the inside scoop in terms of what's happening there because you guys are currently leading. I was speaking to Charles before he went into the car, and he said to me that you guys were waiting for 15 seconds to kind of come in and have a good pit stop, but this really gives you that upper advantage.
I think so, yeah. I made a small mistake with my seat mold to come out, so I hope that they didn't damper us too much.
Yeah. But you were 17 seconds ahead of Dane when you came in, so...
Okay, was it 17 seconds? Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. I didn't know exactly we were just, when I saw that somebody was in the wall, I just got on the radio and said, look guys, I think we're in for a safety car, let's just get ready, you know. So.
Did you see exactly what happened to Michael? Did you get kind of an inside view there or not?
Oh, so is it Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea, sorry. No, not really. Basically, when I came past, the car was with the nose towards the wall. So I don't know if he maybe had a moment or maybe if there was just a failure of something. But I hope he'll be okay. These cars are quite safe. So hopefully we'll see him for race 2.
So this is great for you in terms of coming out on top with the points here, right?
Yes, of course, it definitely does help. But still 2 more races to go and this one as well, which is very important. But yeah. Things are looking well. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Arnold. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. It's inside information. Didn't even know that was Michael Steven that went into the wall. But as you heard from Ari as well, he also thought it might have been a mechanical failure. I will make my way down to that garage as soon as possible and see if I can get that information for you guys.
Kriya Gangia bringing us the scoops as always, as we now see the MP4-12 getting moved out of the way there on top of Hanger Sweep. And how does this bode for the championship? Well, Silvius Grabanti now finds himself in 4th position, and maybe him and Aldo might switch it up for those precious points. Aldo Scribanti looking good. Dane Angel, though, of course, is the big winner here in 2nd position. Currently looks like 8 seconds behind Aranjis and Neveling. We're going to have to wait and see once they recirculate. Things now hotting up and things evening out a little bit more for certainly Dane Angel and Silvius Grabanti. They needed to get past Michael Steven. I know they didn't hope it to be like this, but you take what you can get in motorsport, isn't that right, Steve?
That's it. Anything can happen. The only certainty that you have in motorsport is your vehicle or your bike will be parked on a trailer by the end of the day. Whether it's in pieces, whether it's together, that's a different story. But the safety car, as you can see how dark it is out there, my heavens. Sorry, I'm just quite amazed of how the lights just faded away in the Windy City, and Aldo Scribanti has just taken on a different light. We spoke to a couple of drivers after the previous race, and they said they quite enjoyed the change of lighting situations from dark to sun, now having sun to dark, going from day to night. It's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to have the jump on the start, because now you're getting cars, you're starting to look at all the lights around the circuit. Not the ideal thing to do when your eyes not properly into the racing.
Yeah, exactly. And now all of a sudden the lights go out and the racing is on. But now the guys are bunched up incredibly tight at this stage. The safety cars picked up the leader, and as we mentioned earlier on, Steve-O, everybody's getting better at everything, even working with the safety car, as we see Isak Spies over there. Of course, Isak Spies, I think this car is part of the Isak Spies garage. So Isak Spies there making his way over to assist as they get the car out of the way. The safety car going through. Aranjis and Neveling still lead us off, but right behind them now is Dane Angel. Behind that is Aldous and Silvius Grabanti. And Ibbotson finds himself in a solid 5th place. We just got to find out if Ibbotson and Marcel Angel have indeed swapped out in their pit stop.
Well, you had a chat with Isak Spies on the pre-show, and one of the things that he said is to go and always make race better, put on a show, make it more exciting. But they were taking a look at that left rear. I'm a little bit worried of what if maybe something is broken there. But the whole aim of the series, the SAGT series and the SAES, is to push the envelope every single time, trying something new, putting on a show, and also testing the talents that we have out on the circuit, which is absolutely incredible. And now the guys are just over the halfway mark, 35 minutes or 36 minutes into the race, 23 minutes to go. That safety car is now making life a little bit more interesting. Ernest, I've got to ask, they're driving slow. Those tyres are starting to cool down. We saw how windy it was earlier. That track starts to cool down, overcast weather. This is not ideal circumstances as you head into the night.
Not at all. Not at all, and not in the least. These drivers here will be hoping to get going as fast as possible. They're hoping that Polo can go as quickly as possible through the hairpin over there. And just look at how closely they're bunched up. We're going to wait and see now if he's going to pull out, if the safety car will pull into the pits on this lap, and then we will go racing again. But rightly so, Stephen. The tires are going to start to get cold. The drivers are going to start to get a little bit more relaxed, and now the car parked on the inside of that section over there. They're trying to get the car to a safer position. But now, will that car be able to be fixed in time? Tomorrow's race. Luckily, not another race this evening. For the camera to cut back to see if we will have green flag racing on this lap, or if we will be another lap. Here we go. It looks like we're going racing. Yes, it is. Off they go. Ranji is now leading us off. We got Dane Angel applying massive pressure there. Aldous Scribanti, Sylvia Scribanti, Ibbotson also in the mix. The Lamborghini comes past, and that is the Lamborghini over there. Where is the Ferrari? Everything in absolute pandemonium over here, and that looks like the Lamborghini over there, the 78 car. Sylvia Scribanti has taken the lead. Sylvia Scribanti has taken the lead of this race, ladies and gentlemen. How the heck did that happen? We've got ourselves a championship fight, ladies and gentlemen.
Deciding that he could get on the throttle a little bit earlier than the rest. Everyone's just been so cautious to turn, and he was able to outbrake it. Now it is going to be a battle. Charles Ranji's constantly putting a huge amount of pressure onto the back of it. He's trying to hustle him along. And you've got Silvio Scribanti, who's leading the championship. He needs these points. That's what he needs to break away from Dane Angel. And it's going to be incredible. But I hear that we've got Kriya down to give us a bit of information.
Yes, guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about Michael. Everything is okay. He's out of the car. I just spoke to the mechanics in the garage. Unfortunately, they don't know what is wrong with the car as of yet, so they're still waiting for it to come back. But just an update, he is fine and everything's okay. The car was not on fire. Nothing was going wrong. We just have to wait to see what happens when he comes back into the garage.
Ah, what a pity that is the case. He's fine. The car should be okay. They're going to try and figure out what happened over there. And as soon as we have more information, we'll get back to you with that info. We now go back to the action. Getting a little bit dark out there as we see the Sun Lupi car. Andrew Colbert, I apologize. That's the Andrew Colbert 123 car over there. And there is your leader now, your new leader, the championship leader. And of course, that is Silvio Scribanti over there. But is he actually in the lead? We're going to wait and see it. I'm waiting for the official standings over here. It still shows on the timing board that Charles Ranjis is in the lead. So could this be the case here, that Charles Ranjis is still effectively in the lead of this race? Dane Angel still in second place. We're waiting for Silvio Scribanti is still a lap down, even though he is currently first on the road. So in that confusion there earlier on with that safety car, it could be that Silvio Scribanti is still exactly a lap down on the front three cars, and that could change things up quite a bit. Of course, I think for the lead pair of the Ranjis and Level, this was worst case scenario, that safety car, they had a massive 17-second gap, and that 17-second gap is all but gone now with Dane Angel only 2 seconds behind Ari Level, according to the timing board, still leading this race.
Well, that's the thing. It was going for a cheap pit stop, but unfortunately for the duration that safety car was out, it just started bunching him up quite a bit. But one thing I'm taking a look at is Silvio Scribanti being a lap down. He's essentially getting blue flagged the whole time. So Dan Angel is busy going and pushing as hard as he can to catch up to Charles Arunjis. Arunjis is trying to force Silvio to go faster or get out the way because he needs to get away from that Ferrari as quick as possible. And if the Lamborghini is a bit too slow, he's going to lose that first place due to a back marker getting the jump on the entire field.
Well, currently their laps are very evenly matched. Both of them doing 59.5 for Arunjis and a 59.4 for Silvio over there. So far Silvio is able to match the pace of the race leaders. And for a brief moment there we thought he actually took the lead, but was still one lap down. Does that mean that he hasn't put it yet? We need to wait and see. I'd love to hear from Kia, who has in fact pitted already. We're already 41 minutes into this race. So I would imagine that everybody has this stage done their pit stop. And so far it looked like Ranji's too much pressure there. He's got a comfortable lead over Angel. The gap is going to 2.1 seconds now. And there of Dane Angel in second position. Although Scribante officially in third, and further down is Silver and Ibbotson fourth position. But let's are in the pro Angel and Jason currently, and Marcel Angel currently leading the Pro-Am standings.
Well, just taking a look, Charles Arunjis is putting lots of pressure on, but it's not going to help him. Now, I know Kriya's got a bit of information, so Kriya, down to you.
Yes, you guys were asking if the Scribantes have both made their pit stops. Yes, they have. Both of the cars have come into the pits, so we will not see them come in this evening. So it just means that Silvia's got to catch up that lap and really push to the finish.
Yeah, pushing to the finish is what it's all about at this stage. They've got about 17 minutes remaining. And so far the gap is going even higher still for Arunji. So Arunji is not shy on pace here, doing a 59.2. Silvia also doing a 59.2. So Silvia seems to be leveling under that pressure. And unfortunately, Dane Angel struggling a little bit with pace compared to the other guys, still also running in the 59-second bracket. They did have some issues with that car in Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken. They had a bit of an off in Cape Town, but they did manage to get that car repaired. Dane has always proven to be quite fast, and these cars are so evenly matched. But that race in front, not for position in fact, and Charles Arunjis and Ari Neerling still leading us off in that number.
Now, I'm going to put it to you in this one. Charles Arunjis is currently in the toe of Silvio Scribante. Silvio is essentially punching a hole in the air and allowing that. You've got Charles Arunjis who has nothing pushing him back. There's no airflow slowing him down. There's no drag that's being applied to his car, which also he's not getting airflow onto his wings. So it's getting a little bit worrisome that your braking markers are starting to change because you haven't got that downforce. But I just want to point out, Silvio Scribante is not in a slipstream. He is punching the hole. Yet he is keeping ahead of Charles Arunjis. Now is that Charles rather using Silvio to just keep the pace up, utilize the toe, or is Silvio just saying, be a bit of a hand, and I'm going to come back and get you. Even though there's not much, it is still possible. It's still possible. Anything can happen until that checkered flag comes down and cars have crossed the line.
Of course. We've seen that happen so many times. We've seen this car have engine problems. We've seen so many of these drivers make mistakes. Of course it can happen in any form of motorsport. We see the best drivers in the world make mistakes. But what we're not seeing at the moment is Silvio Scribante cracking under any sort of pressure here. He is maintaining that position, maintaining fourth place. And although his brother is in the third place a little bit further up the road, at the moment he is in fourth, and for his championship standing he's going to want to get up as high as possible, as we see one of the two Mercedes-Benz make their way through over here. Of course, Colbert and San Moodley in those two cars. San Moodley in the 11 car. That looks like that car over there. Yes, it is. and Andrew Colbert in the 1-2-3 car. And Sun Woodley has been not going at the fastest pace, but certainly very consistent at this stage, solidly in the 1 minute range. He did a 1:02, his best time, and now finds himself in 7th position just behind Mo Mia. We've hardly had any eyes on today, but Mo Mia in the mix there in 6th position in the AM category. Leading off the AM category is Mo Mia, with Sun Woodley in 2nd place in the AM.
That's good to see, and we've seen Mo Mia. Whoa!
Oh, somebody spun out
there, and that's Silvio. That's Silvio.
Oh my goodness me, Silvio, and we were just talking about it, that uncharacteristic spin from Silvio Scabanti there. And again, you mentioned it earlier on, Steve, he's not used to this car's got ballast, and what a silly spin there. I mean, he's not going to be happy about that. Luckily, no damage on the car. It seems he managed to get going immediately.
Oh, somebody spun out.
He knows the circuit so well, as we cut to a replay over there. And hopefully we can get a bit of an early view of that replay. He just spun out there, uncharacteristically so, going into the hairpin. What a pity, what a shame.
I think what happened is he braked a little bit too late. You know, pushing the bound too hard, got onto what we call the marble, the rubber that's been thrown off on the tires. It's all the dirt that's on the side of the circuit. Very, very tricky. Once you hit the marbles, there's next to no control. You like driving on ice. And I think he just outbraked himself just a little bit, that it upset the car and threw him around. Once he hit those marbles, that was done and dusted. It could have ended badly. It's a very fast corner. It's hard braking to get there. But maybe pushing a little bit too hard has cost it. Maybe looking at how much time's left of the race, slow it down, rather get into a bit of a rhythm. If he finishes out in 4th place, it still is okay for his championship. It's not, but it's okay. Remember, there's 2 more races on the weekend.
Yeah, there's plenty to regain some points. Of course, the structure of the championship allows that, and allows drivers to rake together multiple races. So, of course, it ain't over till it's over. It's not this weekend. The Bigfoot car, some lights behind. You really can't have it and say that you can't see the car coming up behind you. These lights are incredible.
That's the problem. They're incredibly bright. It's like going on the highway and someone's got their brights on. It's just in your mirrors. It's everywhere.
Dazzling.
This is what makes night racing so exciting. It really tests the drivers, especially for the guys overtaking and getting past. You have to get a little bit more confident with the people around you. You've got to understand the circuit, where you are on the circuit, where there's going to be the best place to let the guy go, that you're not going to fall off the circuit. It's so tricky, and this is what's testing the drivers. And every time we have spoken to them, they have absolutely loved it. They love how the transitions through the day has challenged every little aspect of their racing talents that they've built up over the years. It's not just normal daytime racing anymore. It's no afternoon race. It is solid racing in different conditions.
Yeah, solid racing in different conditions, and these guys have to cope with all of those conditions. We've seen rain, we've seen shine, we've seen morning, we've seen night, and today we see some incredible nighttime driving in the windy city of Port Elizabeth as these drivers make their way through for one more lap. It's 49 minutes down, just 10 minutes remaining. So far we've got the pairing of Ari Leveling and Charles Aranjis just crossing the line there, getting that 1st place spot. Dane Angel in 2nd place, crossing the line 7.6 seconds behind. 3rd place is Aldo Scribanti, 4th is Silvio, and that rounds up your pro standings. In Pro-Am category, Jason Ibbotson, Marcel Angel, no mistakes today from Ibbotson, and he'll be happy to walk away from this race without a spin, and a solid result with solid pressure being applied as well. In 6th place, and first of the AM drivers is Mo Mia, followed by Sun Woodley with a fantastic result. Andrew Colbert looking racy earlier on. Unfortunately, with the spin, saw him slip down to 8th place and 2nd in the Pro-Am category. Michael Stephen with a big incident sees him. Now Paul Hill pulling into the pits earlier on as well sees him park the Aston Martin, and that is your standings at the moment as we make our way into the final 10 minutes of today's race.
I have to ask, we've seen some really beautiful cars coming out. I mean, we've seen the Ferraris, we've seen the newer Porsches over the course of the series, and now we're seeing, well, bring back Old Faithful, which I think needs to get its name checked after this little incident. But I'm sure they can get that one sorted out after it's been attacked by 13 spanners and, well, number 13 spanner and a number 10 socket. But the Aston Martin coming into play. What I would like to see is someone getting hold of a BMW, get hold of the old M6, get it racing out here. We've seen these cars coming through, and I challenge guys to come and join the SAGT with some incredible cars.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're going to be seeing more of these cars arriving. Every single race there's a new car on the start grid. And, you know, we've seen now today, just today, we see the Aston Martin putting up. We see the Paget Racing Lamborghini back in the mix. I think he's doing exceptionally well in that car earlier, I've got to say. And then, of course, we see that Aston Martin on the start line as well. Regulars like Ibbotson are starting to find some pace. And Sun Moodley also quite a bit faster than he was at the last race. We saw him spin out at the first opening corner of the SAES race the last time. But this time, some solid pace and racing from Sun Moodley as we cut to Colbert over there, who himself had a bit of a moment earlier on and now finds himself getting an Audi slung behind him. The Audi comes past with no issues. And that, of course, is your leader over there, just keeping on those hot laps and keeping on with that circulating 59-second pace at this stage, just shy of the best time of 58.1. But he's done enough at this stage to secure that win if he keeps on going as he is now. And there goes one of the two Angel Ferraris over there. Of course, Dane Angel running second in the 51 car. That's the 46 car of Ibbotson and Marcel Angel. Marcel Angel himself a race winner in the series, now paired up with the rookie Jason Ibbotson, with not much racing experience, and now finds himself mixing it with the big boys. I'm sure a proud performance from him as he sits in the pits watching his team circulate. And there we see the Stephen car beached and parked on the side of the road.
That's it. It has been absolutely incredible to see lots of new and old names coming in, putting in the challenge. And I've got to say, it's been fantastic racing. And if this is the racing that we're going to see all weekend, Ernest, I don't know about you, but I am going to be out of my chair the whole time, going and trying to figure out, seeing if it's jump on who, because this is absolutely incredible. This is SAGT at its finest here at Aldo Scribanti, which is one of our shortest circuits that we race on. This is amazing. It's going to be a great weekend.
An incredibly short circuit. An incredibly short circuit. Dion Joubert was being interviewed by Car Magazine quite recently, and he mentioned the one South Africans have going for us quite a lot. So we've got a lot of these club circuits, these shorter circuits that were designed many, many years ago, and it allows these modern cars to do, in this case, sub 1 minute lap time. So you see the car coming fast again, the laps go faster. They're racing for the same amount of time. You see the laps churn faster and faster. So it makes the racing quite exciting. And although there's a lot to be said for Formula One spec circuits that are 2.5 minutes long, there certainly is a lot to be said for a short circuit, especially this iconic one over here that the Scribantis now find themselves on their home circuit.
That's it, and also going and building up a kart circuit at the same track. So it's fantastic to see the development and the guys coming in, you know, enjoying these little circuits. And I know there's been lots of excitement to come back to Aldo Scribanti and really test their might. It's a bit of a challenge for the cars itself. You have to brake a little bit harder than the cars need or want to at this point. Also, it's a very flowing circuit, so it tests the drivers on keeping up the pace through the corners. It's not all about brute force horsepower. It's about how you carry the momentum in and out of the corners and how you don't get slowed up by the field. That's what makes it challenging. This is why the circuit was developed, and it only is 2.4 kilometers long, which is it's not. People run 5 kilometers. That's longer than the circuit. But to have the challenge, that's it. But to have the challenge for every single one of these drivers to also experience at night, it goes and shows the characteristic of the circuit. You start to focus on the bumps a little bit more because that's your telltale of where to brake. Because all you can see now is your headlights.
Yeah, and all the drivers in front can see are their headlights blazing away in their rearview mirror as we head into now the final 5 minutes of this race. Charles Rangi still leads us off over there. Dane Angel still in second place, 13 seconds down. Unfortunately, not much pace, but the ballast might sort that out for the next race. We're going to have to wait and see. And then, of course, in third place is Aldo Scribanti over there. Behind him is Silvio Scribanti in fourth position as the final minutes of this race draw closer. And of course, it's not over yet for those that are in attendance. Tonight will be drag racing happening after this. And I've got to say, Steve, as someone that takes part in multiple forms of motorsport and watches and commentates on multiple forms of motorsport, it's great to see this festival atmosphere taking place this weekend. There's going to be bands, there's going to be good lucks playing this weekend as well. And of course, there's going to be many forms of motorsport combined, which means that those people that aren't necessarily into G get to see, like, wait a second, these are Lambos and they look pretty cool. And same for the guys that aren't used to seeing 10-second drag cars at the circuit. They're going to come to watch some GT racing and end up being given a bit of a treat with a 10-second car making its way down the strip. So I really do like the combination of races that are available at the circuit. So if you are in Port Elizabeth and you want to go check it out, make your way through. You can book online or get tickets at the gate. This is, of course, the South African Endurance Series, and tomorrow is a bumper day that will be taking place at that incredible circuit with lots and lots happening all day long tomorrow until late into the evening with the 2-3 hour races that take place tomorrow for the SAE. And you and I will be talking our way through those 6 hours tomorrow, won't we, Steve?
Oh, I'm going to absolutely love it. Aldo Scribanti, a circuit that I've gone and visited and enjoyed. But Ernest, I think you've easy way to sum up the weekend. We bring the speed, we bring the sound, and we bring the South African pride right to every race. And it just gets more and more exciting. But one person that's going to be absolutely through the roof is going to be Charles Rangi and Arnold Neveling, who are leading out and they waiting to get that checkered flag. They may be 10th in the championship, but there's no better feeling than crossing a line and seeing that checkered flag and you knowing that you're the first car to take it.
Especially in this class, we've started to see this class start to get very competitive, especially the top 4 pro drivers. They are now solidly competing with each other within tenths of a second, and that's exactly what we needed to see. The field was a little bit spread out over when the series first started about 2 years ago, and now we find them much more bunched up. We see new cars coming to the grid, so for them to take that win here, Ari Neveling and Charles Rangi, that is no small feat, folks. These guys are doing the deed out there, showing some pace, showing some speed, consistency, and of course racecraft as we cut to the Padlet Racing Audi over there in the lead.
That Audi R8 LMS Evo, which is actually one of the newer Audis compared to its Audi R8 LMS, the former, and doing an incredible job out there. But this is also one thing about the category that's been really exciting. You're getting the newer spec cars racing with the older spec, but yet the racing is so close, and that's because our team has been working tirelessly. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress this enough, tirelessly to make sure the balance of performance actually works properly, and also to ensure that the pit stops are fair and square. It doesn't matter if you've got 2 or 1 driver to climb out the car, close the door, and then try and open the door again and climb back in. It's difficult. It is not the easiest thing to do, and it can slow you up. So well done to the team to put it all together. But as we start to closing out this hour, that Audi has been dominant the entire race. Charles Rangi and Arnold Neveling have just put on a fantastic show and going to be scoring that checkered flag very soon. Dane Angel getting one up on his championship rival, as Aldo Scribanti would be in third place, but Silvio down in fourth, and that spin did not help them earlier.
Yeah, that spin most certainly didn't, and we now make our way into the final seconds of this race. We're just trying to see if that flag is out yet. And yeah, looks like there comes the flag. There is the flag. The flag is waving, ladies and gentlemen. The winners have crossed the line. And we've got Charlotte Ranjis and Arnold Neveling taking the win in the pro category. Dane Angel third place. Aldous Trabanti gets third, lights flashing over there. And I think Ibbotson and Angel are going to be very happy. That's them flashing those lights over there. Save some of that for tomorrow, guys. You're going to need them tomorrow as they try to, I'm sure, going to be going for better position still tomorrow. But a fantastic performance there from the front running guys. Steve, that was quite an exciting race in these different conditions. I'm going through the comments over here on the YouTube channel and YouTube page. You guys are watching YouTube. So for all those that have commented and been interacting, thanks for joining us for this race. And there, folks, there you have it. The winners of this race, race one of this weekend, with many more races to come. Charlotte Ranjis and Arnold Neveling. They've done it with a 17-second gap. The pit stops brought them back, but they still managed to stay in the lead. Wow, they just keep on coming. The two of them in that number one Audi.
That's it. The Audi R8 LMS Evo taking first place, getting chased down by Dan Angel in that 488 GT3. So I think we've got to keep an eye out on that Ferrari. A little bit of pace is going to come out of it, and we've seen Dan Angel is able to pull a rabbit out of the hat in more than one occasion throughout the years of motorsport. Then you've also got the Lamborghini Huracan of Aldo Scribante and also Silvio Scribante in the Lamborghini Huracan. At least Silvio knows that the clutch did last this point, and you've got to bring it all home. You don't want to damage the car, but you can be sure he's going to get his team working frantically to get their car going. And it does look like the McLaren is able to move under its own steam as well.
Ah, that's great to hear. So maybe a little bit of a mistake there, an uncharacteristic mistake from the multiple South African champion Michael Steven. I don't think I've ever seen him make one. So this is just an incredible turn of events to see him drop out like that. He was running in second position, of course, earlier when that incident occurred. And and we got the comments here in the stream coming through. I'm checking out YouTube now. I'll check out Facebook some other time. But Noor Hendricks in the mix there says, good game. So it feels like they're watching sim racing over here. Andre Saradia says, nerf the Audi more. Andre also says he loves night racing. Go MJR says Armin Bucas. And Noor Hendricks says, yo. Audi looks like it's part of the tarmac, says Noor Hendricks. So definitely Audi a firm favorite over there. Gabriel dos Santos says this is his favorite class of racing over F1. That's a big compliment. So thanks for that, Gabriel dos Santos. As the guys now head into the weighbridge over there, Steve. And that's to make sure that the cars were supposed to weigh. No driving through the sand, boys. I've been guilty of that one myself, trying to get a little bit extra weight. And they go over the weighbridge now towards Park Vermey, where we will shortly be having our celebrations. But from your perspective, Steve-O, of the drivers here, some names that we didn't really spend that much time following. But San Mudley, certainly with a solid performance from him. Andrew Colbert, good performance. If it wasn't for that spin, that's a bit of a pity. Chelsea Scribante having to sit this one out, unfortunately. But Silvio doing well to work his way from behind.
I think the two to watch out for the weekend, my personal pick, is going to be Andrew Colbert and also the Aston Martin of Paul. Both of them are incredibly well-paced. They know how to put it on the pressure. If it wasn't for the car letting down, the Aston Martin, unfortunately, giving up the ghost, and we know that car is going to get put back together, or the Mercedes of Andrew Colbert just getting it all kinds of wrong, clipping the dirt and just rotating the car around. I think those two are going to be one to watch out for. And come next year, we might actually see an AMG badge on the front end of that field instead of an Audi. But as the guys line themselves up in Parc Fermé, just to let people know, there is scrutineers or Parc Fermé marshals that go and keep an eye on the cars. They also make sure that the cars haven't been duped in any way. So not only have they been weighed, they also go and take a look and make sure that the engines are still good. Nothing's been changed on there. The engine mappings haven't been changed. Small things like and that's to make sure that it is all fair and square. And especially in a class like this, where everything's on the line, this is absolutely pinnacle of South African motorsport. That's where you want to be. You've got to make sure that
Yeah.
all the rules are followed. But I'm a little bit jealous because Korea gets to be around these amazing machines and go and physically look at them, go chat to the drivers. But I wouldn't like to open the door of those right now because I'm sure the inside the cockpits are going to be blazing hot with the engine heating up that cockpit. Also, it's been close to 32 degrees down there.
Yeah, now I don't even get me started on not being in at the circuit over there in Port Elizabeth. We somebody was talking to me earlier, and I think it was our producer I was chatting to earlier, and he says he can smell the petrol fumes, the high octane fumes. He can smell the rubber, he can hear the sounds, and that's what motorsport's all about. The Spring Festival. Of course, we would highly recommend that if you are in the area, go check it out. You will see some of the fastest cars in South Africa racing it door to door. And there we see the Autohaus Angel car getting pushed onto the podium over there, the 51 car of Dane Angel. Two slightly different specs. One is a 458. And there comes the Paget Racing #1 car going to its spiritual home. First place, it looks like it. And then, of course, our clerk of the course getting all nice and slow, guys. Nice and slow. We don't want to see paint swapping in the pit lane. None of that here, please. And yeah, there they go, lining themselves up. And of course, what an incredible race. For me, certainly, that pits, that restart, shuffled things up a bit. For a moment there, I thought Silvio Scribanti was in the lead, but he was one lap down. He did spice things up a bit. What a drive from Silvio, though, to find the pace in a car that he doesn't know. In a car that had ballast fitted last moment. I think his team should be proud of themselves for sorting out that ballast, but I also think they're not going to be so happy about that clutch. They're going to have to sort that clutch out for next time, that's for sure.
No, that's it. And we heard CEO go and say that just fit genuine parts. Don't try and mess around. And it seems like it all worked out. On that Lamborghini has been used properly this race. It's also amazing to go and see. You've got an Audi R8 LMS Evo, Audi R8 LMS Evo. You've got the Ferrari 488, and you've got a 458 in the same field. You've got the older gen cars racing against the new gen, but also see them here in South Africa, which, Ernest, let's be honest here, a couple of years ago, I don't think you and I would have ever thought to be standing around or even looking at GT3 cars. But this shows you how far South Africa has come in motorsport. And yes, we were at the pinnacle. We had Formula One around us. But now we've taken it one step further and we're challenging the international standards. This is SRO standard, ladies and gentlemen. The same stuff here on South African soil. What an amazing thing. And it's a big thank you to our sponsors, a big thank you to the admin team to make it all happen, and also to the teams, drivers, and families that were able to put this together. And we cannot forget our loyal spectators as well.
Yeah, indeed. For those people that are watching, Noor Hendricks says shot for the broadcast. Andre Seradio, Liesel Johnson says awesome driving by Team Autohaus Angel. I think she's right about that one. Fantastic driving there by #2 man, Dane Angel, and of course the rest of the team keeping it together further down the field, taking the Pro-Am win. We got, as I said, Dos Santos, Armin Bucas in the mix. Then I'll go check out the Facebook stream as well to see what's happening there. But now the cars are getting lined up. That 45 car of Aldous Scribanti getting pushed into position over there. And in a few moments, we'll be handing over to Kriya Gangia in the pit lane to give us that podium ceremony. And the drivers, the turning circle on these cars is not exactly that small. So it's a couple of left and right jigs here and there to just get the position. And I think it's a fair bit more difficult to park these cars than it is to race them.
That's it. They've got a turning circle equivalent to a Sherman tank. That's for certain. But at pace, these cars really show what they can do and how nimble they are. So that's the thing. They're built for speed. They're not built to go slow. If they go slow, it's a little bit more difficult. But soon as you get a little bit of pace underneath them, that's where it goes and shows off how nimble they are. But first, second, and third, all mid-engines. But you cannot beat
Yeah.
the mighty German engineering of the Audi R8 LMS Evo. It's just amazing. But surrounded by the Italian cars, the Ferrari, and also the Lamborghini, I think keep an eye. Charles Rangi's Arnold Neveling, they must be enjoying it now. But come tomorrow, I think the challenge is on.
The challenge will definitely be on, and of course they'll be running extra weight tomorrow. All of these drivers will be running ballast, but I think the leader will be a little bit heavier than the rest of them. They are running ballast at the moment, performance ballast out, but tomorrow they will be running more ballast, performance ballast, of course, for getting that first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place wins. But now we wait for the ceremony. There walks, looks like Marcel Angel. And there goes Dane. That is Ibbotson over there as well. So cool to see the guys running around the pits. Our cameraman over there giving us the shots in the pit lane. There is Aldo Scribanti and throwing that bottle into the bin over there. Nothing but net. Nails the shot just like he nailed that third position. And in second place, the Angel car over there on the far side of your screen. And in the middle there, the number one car. That is, of course, first place man, Ari Neveling and Ranjis. So we are waiting for confirmation of our drivers to come to their positions, and then we will be heading over to the ceremony very shortly. What an exciting! There goes Michael Steven. Look, glad to see him on his feet, running around and opening the door of that Lamborghini. Michael, what are you doing there? Is he going to jump in the Lamborghini next, or Michael Steven? Jumping in. But all of these guys work together here, Steve. These guys, a lot of these guys know each other. A lot of these guys assist. You can see Michael on the laptop over there, and there's some of our SAES competitors, no doubt getting ready for tomorrow's epic. Total 6-hour race for the South African Endurance Series. And there goes Mr. Isak Spies as well, one of the founders of the South African Endurance Series. And you can see him giving his feedback in an incredibly interesting and intimate conversation. And we've just got news now that Kriya Gangia, the lovely Kriya Gangia, is standing by for us in the pit lane over there. We are going to the ceremony in the. Let's find out who the winners are of this first race on Friday night of the Kriya. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ernest and Stephen, for keeping us entertained over the 1 hour. But I know you didn't have to do too much work because the racing was even better. It was absolutely amazing on track tonight. And we could see it by some of the results as well. I think I'm going to start with the pro category this evening. And our results at the moment sitting in third position. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Aldo Scribanti. The team is getting him onto his podium, and whilst he is getting there, I'm going to call up our second position in the pro category. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dane Angel. Thanks. Are you going to second? Yes. And then coming in first place tonight, an absolutely phenomenal performance by Charlotte Ranges and Arnold Neveling for Stradale Motorsport.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our winners of the pro category. Oh, it seems like they are not, but oh, here comes the spray. Never mind, I was premature on that one.
When were you going to come?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving into our next category of the evening is the Pro-Am category. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Marcel Angel and Jason Ibbotson for Auto Haas Angel. Yeah, look at you guys winning some great points this evening in your category. You didn't spin tonight, eh? Good.
Well, there should be another bottle coming up.
There you go. All I can say is Marcel Angel is getting very good at spraying that champagne because he is really enjoying the top spot on the podium recently in his category. We now move on to the next category and the final category for the evening for SAGT, which is the AM category. So ladies and gentlemen, coming in third place was Sun Woodley. To the podium, please, sir. Coming in second place was Andrew Colbert. And when I was chatting to this gentleman a bit earlier, he said to me he just wanted to enjoy his car today and not really compete as hard as possible, but he came out on top. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Momia from MJR Motorsports. Congratulations.
Well done, man. Cheers, cheers. Can we just get a picture there?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it for day one in PE. Absolutely amazing first race for SAGT. But this is not the end of the weekend. We have so much action coming up for you tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. Not only do we have 2 SAGT races, but we have 2 SAE races. It's now being split into 2 3-hour races. So it's going to be an action-packed day. Plus, we have Good Luck. We have Jesse Clegg. We have DJ Zane performing live here at Aldous Grabanti Racetrack. So if you are in the area, make sure you come down and join us. There are tickets still available online. You can also buy tickets at the gate. But that's not all the action we have. We also got some drag racing. We've got some other cars that are currently on the track, as you can hear behind me. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. For myself, Korea Gang here, good night.